Hello, friends! In the classic story of The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy repeats the famous phrase, "There's no place like home," and she was right, especially if you live in a house like the ones in the upcoming videos. Some people just want to be alone, and they have some crazy ideas about what a house should be like. These ideas are also popping up in the strangest places, from the middle of nowhere to the center of everything, from the extravagant to the off-the-radar. Here are 15 houses of people who hate the outside world. And house number 5 doesn't like its neighbors. But before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and share. I'm Nadia Drummond, and let's get into our video. Clingstone Mansion, built in 1905, perched on top of a small rocky island from a group of islands called the Dumplings in Narragansett Bay, near Jamestown, Rhode Island, United States. It features 3 stories and is made of stone and cedar wood. The name clingstone was suggested by an observation. The term clingstone is a botanical term for fruits whose pulp clings to the inner seed, like mangoes and peaches. This name reflects how the house clings to the rocks beneath it, as it was designed to withstand hurricane-force winds. The house is known to locals as the house on a rock. It is a 3-story, 23-room, 9,000-square-foot mansion in a chalet style with a tile roof. Despite the many stories surrounding clingstone, the house itself was only built in 1905 by Joseph Lovering Morton, a son of the famous industrialist Joseph Worley. They chose Jamestown Island over Milford because the island was much quieter and had been mainly colonized by New York society. In 1961, a Boston architect named Henry Wood purchased the house for the price of back taxes, which at the time was only $3,600. What a bargain! Over the years, Henry Wood slowly restored the house to its present state. The Wood family still uses the house for a large part of the summer, but if you have $8,000 to spare, you can rent the house on the rock for a week. It may seem expensive, but with 10 spacious bedrooms, it offers one of the most iconic rental properties on the market. 14th place, Portuguese Stone House. You have to see this architectural monument located in northern Portugal. It is built from 4 large stones that serve as foundation walls and the roof of the house. It has been sensationalized on the internet as one of the real-life Flintstones houses. The Casa de Penedo, or Stone House, doesn't date back to the Stone Age, but rather to the 1970s. An engineer wanted to build a weekend house for his family to relax in the mountains, and that's how the Stone House came to be. The rest of the house was primarily constructed with stone, although other materials were also used. For example, the staircase was built with wood, and the house has glass windows and a metal door. It is equipped with all modern comforts. Today, the house serves as a small museum, displaying relics and petroglyphs from Penedo's history. The house is registered as a mountain shelter and does not have electricity or running water. The entire building is integrated into the boulders and blends with the surrounding landscape. You can see that nothing is straight: the windows, the roof, the shapes of the rooms, and probably even the floor. But that's how nature is. Due to its unusual design and integration with the surrounding nature, the house has become a growing tourist attraction. Thirteenth place, Fire Lookout. People dream of fancy cars, big houses, and an elegant lifestyle among the elite. But a couple from Dallas decided to abandon that scene for something completely different. A 40-foot-tall lookout tower in the middle of a forest became their home, a house designed for fire lookouts, known as the Tree House, even though there's no tree. It sits on a 160-acre meadow in the rural countryside of Oregon. After seeking a fresh start, they built this 1-bedroom, 1,280-square-foot house. The couple chose to build their home in Tiller, Oregon, after camping in the area for 5 years and renting lookout towers from the United States Forest Service. Initially, the house served as a weekend retreat until they decided to make it their permanent residence. The house may appear like a vacation home, equipped with water, electricity, internet, and cell service. However, an important factor is that it does not contain a bathroom. The shower is located on the deck, and the toilet is actually an outhouse in the forest. They didn't want to add a bathroom inside the house because it would obstruct their panoramic views. Fire lookouts were heavily used for detecting forest fires from the early 20th century until the 1960s, but nowadays, only a few remain standing. 12th place, Halley Research Station. Halley Research Station in the harsh ice of Antarctica stands completely lifeless for months, except for a nearby colony of emperor penguins fighting against the wild winds and freezing temperatures of the Antarctic winter, which can drop as low as -56 degrees Celsius. For years, Halley Research Station has been a valuable source of data on space weather and atmospheric chemistry. Long-term data collection by Halley's scientists led to the discovery of the ozone hole in 1985. Built to be mobile, the support beams of the various capsules that make up Halley have skis at the bottom, allowing specialized heavy towing vehicles to pull the entire research station across the ice when necessary, always on the move, facing incredible isolation, blistering cold, and months of 24-hour darkness. Measuring the dynamics of the ice shelf itself is one of the tasks carried out by the research station. This forced the station to relocate to a different section of the ice shelf when a chasm began to form, threatening the station's stability. '11th place, Tiger's Nest. Reaching the Tiger's Nest is quite challenging. It is a 2-hour hike from the bottom of the valley, which is already quite high at 213 meters. The Tiger's Nest is located 914 meters above, approximately 3,000 meters above sea level. Perched on a cliff overlooking the Paro Valley, it is one of the 3 small monasteries or tiger's lairs where it is said that the Master Zen meditated in the 8th century. He arrived on a flying tiger and then meditated in a cave on top of the mountain for 4 months. Carved into the exposed cliff face, it has stone steps, and handrails were only recently added. This is the only way to reach the Tiger's Nest Monastery. Despite any reservations visitors may have about navigating these intimidating steps, it is common to see locals, including mothers carrying young babies, effortlessly climbing the stairs. As you ascend the well-preserved and steep zigzag trail, with each turn becoming steeper, the monastery seems to appear and disappear within the trees and mists, perched on the rocks and across the abyss. The monastery's cliff drops several thousand meters to the gorge below. The steps provide the seclusion and isolation that the Tiger's Nest has enjoyed for centuries. '10th place. Isolated cabin in Iceland. Bizarre theories have spread about this small building nicknamed the loneliest house in the world, located on a remote plot of land in southern Iceland. According to rumors, the house was built by a billionaire who planned to move to the remote island due to a zombie apocalypse. Others have suggested that a religious hermit might be living there. Another popular theory, later debunked, claimed that the Irish government had gifted the island to singer Björk. Some even claimed that the house no longer existed, suggesting it was a Photoshop creation before the photos were published online. The house was actually built in the 1930s by 5 families who lived permanently on the island, surviving through bird hunting and fishing. Not much is known about the families who lived there in the 21st century. They certainly did not enjoy interacting with outsiders. The entire island is about 110 acres, and the only wildlife it harbors is a Nordic bird called the puffin, which is considered a delicacy. The house has no electricity or running water, but it has a complex rainwater collection system that can be used for drinking and cleaning the house. Despite its age and lack of maintenance, it is in very good condition. Nala Cabin. Nala Cabin, located on the small island of Vallisaari in Helsinki, is a wooden cabin designed by designer Robin Falk and named Nala, which means zero in Finnish. The mobile cabin is built with sustainable materials, local pines and wood, and is designed to allow visitors to have zero-emission vacations. Despite its small size, Nala Cabin is constructed with glass-fronted frames to provide guests with a direct view of the surroundings. The design excludes most modern amenities, instead focusing on self-sufficiency and low environmental impact, in line with Nordic tradition. There is no indoor bathroom, instead, a separate outhouse is provided. There is also a small kitchen nook with a stone that can be used for cooking and heating. The cabin's electricity supply is generated by solar panels connected to the cabin's roof. However, the cabin does not have Wi-Fi, encouraging guests to connect with the world around them. Nala Cabin encourages people to consider how modern solutions and innovations can enable sustainable living in a cabin. In addition to being the size of a small room, the cabin can be assembled and transported without heavy machinery, leaving its environment almost untouched. Eighth place, Bishop Rock. Sculptural and majestic, Bishop Rock stands on the border of England, a pillar of strength that now protects sailors from the perils that lie ahead as they approach 6 kilometers west of the Scilly Isles. Bishop Rock Lighthouse, built in 1800 to mark a treacherous rocky outcrop, was the most western danger of the time of its construction, making it one of the most challenging and dangerous locations to build a lighthouse. So why was this structure built in the first place? It was due to shipwrecks. In 1707, ships struck a rock on Bishop Rock, resulting in the deaths of around 1,550 people, marking the worst accident in the history of the British Isles. Over 100 years later, Bishop Rock was struck twice, leading to the construction of the Western Rocks Lighthouse to warn incoming ships as early as possible. After its completion in 1858 and subsequent renovation in 1887, the structure was dubbed the King of Lighthouses. Nowadays, it serves both as a guiding light for sailors and a miniature hotel for history enthusiasts seeking to experience complete isolation for a few weeks. The lighthouse also holds world records, as when Bishop Rock is considered an island, it qualifies as the world's smallest island. Throughout the year, it has the peculiar distinction of being the world's smallest island with a building. 7th place, Monastery in the Sky. In the western region of Georgia, there is a massive natural limestone column called Kachki Pillar. It rises 40 meters in the air and is located on the charming Kachki Island in Georgia. The uniqueness of this site can be found at the top of the monolith, where a small Orthodox church stands, accessible only through a treacherous iron staircase. After being abandoned and shrouded in legend for hundreds of years, the rock was climbed in 1944 by a mountaineer. Upon reaching the top, he discovered the remnants of a carved ancient church and the centuries-old bones of the last man who resided there. The monastery building and the surrounding complex have been restored, and work continues to this day to provide visitors with an experience close to what existed over 1,000 years ago. It is still possible to climb up to the first-level pillars, which house a prayer area and a 16th-century limestone-marked cross, one of the earliest examples of Christian symbolism still in existence today. There is also a space to light a candle and pray inside a stone. However, climbing to the top of the pillars is now prohibited. 6th place, House on the Dina River. In the gorge of the Dina River, there rests a curious little house on its rocky perch. Since 1969, the house has been standing, built by a group of young friends in search of a calm and secluded place to build a retreat. The boys began transporting wood from an old warehouse using improvised boats and canoes to navigate the river. They also used the current to float larger pieces of wood. And thus, one of the most iconic wooden houses in the country was born. Damaged several times by river floods, the house has been rebuilt multiple times. It endures thanks to the continuous struggle and tenacity of the inhabitants who are determined to protect and repair it for over 40 years. As it becomes increasingly famous, this unnamed cabin balances on top of a rock in the middle of the river and has miraculously been spared from the annual rise in floodwaters. Today, this little oasis has become a tourist destination, intriguing visitors with the unique story of the charming and stubborn little house that refuses to yield to the elements. Fifth place, Miami Castle with Moat. One of the most alluring qualities of this house is that it comes with its very own moat, presumably to keep away barbarians or unwanted intruders. And if you're wealthy enough, it can all be yours. This Gothic-style mansion in Miami, Florida, recently hit the market for $10.9 million. The house offers ample space for a single family, with a whopping 10,000 square feet of living space, complete with 8 bedrooms and 8 bathrooms. The complex is perfectly symmetrical, with 2 concrete structures on each end of the house and mirrored gazebos spanning the width of the property. Another gazebo is located at the back of the property, across the moat and amidst a labyrinth garden. These gazebos and the moat can be accessed by stepping stones over the water. Other aquatic features of the property include a koi pond and a swimming pool. Built in 2007, this unique castle was constructed using only the highest quality materials. Situated on 14 acres amidst a private lake in the Royal Gardens, this estate offers a retreat from the modern world. Sometimes, life can be challenging, and you just need to get away from it all and create a space between yourself and the rest of the world. And that space can be a water-filled moat. Stay tuned until the end to be amazed by the most secluded house in the world. Vegas Bunker. If you were to visit this private house in Vegas from the street, you would never guess that beneath it lies a luxurious underground home built 7 meters below ground. This Cold War-era house spans over 1.3 square kilometers and was designed to make the owners feel like they were in a regular house. It is equipped with a lighting system that can simulate sunlight and twinkling stars. Built in 1979 by an entrepreneur and philanthropist, this underground home was created at a time when the owner ensured that residents had all the necessary amenities. It features 5 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, a dance floor, a barbecue area, and a swimming pool. When the owner passed away in 1983, their spouse built a house on the surface. Together, this apocalyptic bunker and the surface house are listed for $18 million. The underground residence is adorned with artificial trees, fake rocks, and realistic landscapes, including hand-painted murals depicting scenes from homes the original owner had around the world. The underground dwelling is perfect for entertaining guests, with amenities such as a hot tub, bar, sauna, and a guest house for overnight stays. Of course, the house is air-conditioned and has cellular, cable, and internet connectivity. Third place. The Arkansas. The picturesque green mountain landscape in southern Poland's Ark was the key inspiration for the architecture firm behind this residential offering. In the Brenna Hills, upon closer inspection, it is not difficult to imagine how the visually stunning Ark received its name. The house becomes vulnerable to landslides due to its location on the slope, which can be a frequent occurrence in this part of the Polish mountains. To safeguard the structure, the architects created a design that floats above the ground, giving the Ark its abstract boat-like aesthetic. This design allows water and mud to flow freely underneath without damaging the property. Due to the remote location and depth of the terrain in the wild nature, safety concerns were addressed by twisting the main volume so that only one corner of the house actually makes contact with the earth. It is also here that the main entrance to the house is located, with the rest of the structure suspended in the air. This entrance is protected by a drawbridge. The same reasoning led the architects to decide that the best possible garden for this house would be to have none at all and to let the existing fields surrounding the house serve as the garden. Second place, safe house. A two-story residential house located on the outskirts of Warsaw, Poland, aiming to provide a maximum sense of security. True to its name, the most distinctive elements of the design are the movable components of the exterior wall, which allow the house to be completely closed off from its surroundings or opened up and connected to the rural landscape. The actual living space measures up to 6,100 square meters, spread across 2 floors and excluding the adjacent pool annex, which is accessed via a retractable drawbridge. The neo-medieval walls adjust to provide a secure zone that extends to cover the front courtyard, effectively separating children from the public street in front of the house. All the movable components are operated mechanically with built-in electronic motors. Although monolithic in appearance, the safe house is actually quite organic, as it can change its appearance and function depending on the moment's needs. The entire house, as well as the movable elements, is clad in a steel structure and painted with a dark wood stain, allowing it to blend well with the surrounding landscape. First place, floating house. There's no place on Earth like Vancouver Island, British Columbia, which also happens to be the surfing capital of Canada. Tofino is the perfect place to disconnect from the grid. Just ask the people who created Freedom Cove, an artificial floating island, an art installation, and a home for nearly 30 years. They chose the location for Freedom Cove because it provides access to fresh water and offers great protection from the winter storms of Canada. What started as a small wooden floating house that was brought to land after a storm, gradually evolved as the creative couple added new buildings, including a dance floor, to create a completely fun environment in a place they could call home. The floating house is also highly self-sustainable. They used flotation technology recycled from nearby fish farms, grew most of their own food, employed a mix of solar panels, propane and wood generators for energy, and had a new microbial wastewater system to live their lives with the lowest carbon footprint possible. This paradise on Vancouver Island may seem idyllic to people who fantasize about life outside society, but it took a great deal of imagination and experience to build the island and requires a lot of work to keep it running. Impressed? Now, tell me, would you like to live in any of these houses? Leave your answer in the comments. If you enjoy content like this, watch the videos we've selected to discover more fascinating facts about our planet. Together, let's explore the beauties of the world. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell. Until next time, kisses, God bless, bye-bye.